Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Filippa, and in today's video I will talk you through my weekly hypopressive schedule. So in this video I'll go over a few questions. I'll answer: how often should you do hypopressives? When should you do hypopressives? How long does it take before you can expect to see results? The weekly hypopressives schedule. So let's start with how often should you do hypopressives? The best way to do hypopressives is to do it 10 minutes every day. It's like brushing your teeth or any other daily activity that keeps your body healthy. And especially if you have any pelvic floor dysfunction or prolapse, incontinence, it's really great to support your pelvic floor every day by activating it through hypopressives. And I explain more about how hypopressives affect the pelvic floor in other videos, so please look at them if you don't know about that. So the basics is 10 minutes every day. If you can't do 10 minutes every day, if it's impossible, then of course it's better to do something than nothing, and you can do slightly longer, maybe 15 minutes, 3 or 4 times every week. But the consistency in hypopressives is almost as important as how many minutes you do every week. You can also, of course, take breaks here and there, and maybe you do 6 times per week, some weeks. As with anything, when we are on a healing journey, we do not want to add stress. That's a key to healing, not being stressed. As soon as we stress about anything, and it can be really small things, it will still affect the nervous system. So we want to spend as much time as we can in our parasympathetic nervous system. It's the nervous system where we are calm and happy and content. And if we add a lot of stress because we have to do certain routines and self-care stuff all the time to heal, that's not going to help either. Preferably, hypopressives 10 minutes every day is something that you can look forward to, and something that you can feel is a quiet time, a time on your own where you can meditate. Breathing techniques are great meditation techniques. So it's not only a physical exercise, but it's also a mental exercise. So my recommendation is 10 minutes hypopressives every day. And that leads us to the next question. When should you do hypopressives? Optimally, you do it in the morning before you eat any breakfast. So you take some time to wake up, maybe you drink something, some lemon water or any tea you want to drink. You can have a cup, and you can wait for some time after you've been drinking. So maybe at least 20 minutes, and then you can do your hypopressives routine. Doing it before you have put any food into your stomach and intestines will boost the whole system in a different way than if you already have food inside there. So if you already have food, a lot of blood is going to go there. The body is starting to work with the digestion, and it doesn't give the same kind of effect as if everything is kind of empty. You will give the internal organs a massage from the hypopressives, and you will also start to wake up the breathing muscles, which will kind of set the tone for that day. So you can keep the nice posture, the length in the spine, breathing, connecting the breathing muscles in a way so that you wake them up and you can have this breathing pattern throughout your day. So that's definitely optimal. Not everyone can do it in the morning, and then I would say you can do it anytime throughout the day, except from when you have eaten. So don't do it just directly after you've eaten. Maybe you can wait 2 hours, and as I said, same thing in the morning. Don't drink anything just right before you're doing it. Wait at least for 20-30 minutes so that it can run through the system and the body and the stomach can feel slightly lighter. One other option is definitely to do it right before you go to bed. So since it is a breathing technique, a meditation, that will also calm you down before you are going to sleep. So that could also be an option. And if you do it in the night, combining with the morning, you could do like more laying down positions, for example, in the evening or in the night before you go to sleep. And maybe in the morning you want to do the more active ones. I'll come to that later in this video. So that's an option too, and definitely, do it rather than not doing it, of course. And it's more important that you actually do it than when you do it and how much time you spend doing it. How long does it take before you can expect to see any results? This is a really good question. So in general, when you look at rehabbing from anything, any kind of injury, you give it 3 to 6 months. And same goes with hypopressives. So you should at least do it 10 minutes every day or 3 to 4 times every week for 3 to 6 months to be sure what kind of effect it has on your body. I have heard a lot of stories, and my own story is included in that. It can take also like 2 to 3 weeks and you start to see results. And of course that gives you a lot of motivation, but it's really important to keep the motivation even if you don't see the results that fast. And actually results can come even later than 6 months, but you've probably seen some kind of effect before you reach 6 months of doing hypopressives. I love the example of my teacher, Abby. She has been doing hypopressives now for maybe 8 years or something. And after 5 years of doing hypopressives, she stopped queefing. So there was no vaginal gas after 5 years of doing hypopressives. And of course, she could see the progress. So she saw that she was queefing less and less, but it kept coming back, and it took 5 years until she finally reached a place in her body where she didn't queef at all anymore. So this journey will be different for everyone, and please just keep that in mind. Just focusing on really practicing the postures and the breathing very well and correctly. That's the key, and the rest will come. And I would say, especially if you add a few other methods into your daily life that can boost the healing journey. I have a lot of videos on that, different types of methods that you can add here on my channel. So if you want to check it out, please do. Now let's go into the weekly schedule. As many of you already know, I am a certified hypopressives teacher. And there are 3 series in hypopressives. And of course, now when I am a certified teacher, I do postures from all the different series throughout my weekly practice. What I will base this weekly schedule on is what I did in the beginning. And that's the basic postures from series 1. And if you don't know the postures, I really recommend you to either go to the course on women's cycles with Abby, my teacher, and you take that hypopressives course there online whenever you want to. It's pre-recorded, so you decide on the steps and how fast you do it, or you find a personal trainer who can help you. And so many trainers these days work online, so it doesn't matter if you can't find a teacher in your country or city, you will be able to find someone who can help you. So this schedule is based on that you already know exactly the positions and how to do apnea when you hold the breath and you create this vacuum in the upper body and in your rib cage. So I'm not gonna instruct anything of that in this video. I'm just going to suggest a schedule on how to do this on a weekly basis. The basic positions of Hypopressives Series 1 are 5 different positions. So it's supine, when you lay down, sitting, standing, hinge, and quadruped, which is when you're on all fours with your hands and knees. So what you do is that you combine all of these postures during 10 minutes. And you will probably not do all of them in 10 minutes. As you know, if you know the technique, you need to take 3 resting breaths in between each apnea, in between each position. So it's really important that you take your time and do long breathing, long breaths, and that you hold your apnea as long as you can without it being forced or really push yourself into any kind of uncomfortable situation. So based on this, you don't want to be able to do too many positions in 10 minutes, because you want each position to really take its time with the breath, finding into alignment, which is also a really important component in hypopressives, which you will learn in the course on womenscycles.com. So what you can do is you pick maybe 3, maybe 2, depending on how long your breaths are. So you could pick, for example, in the morning, maybe you want to have more the feeling of waking up. So maybe you want to do standing position and hinge, for example. Then you just combine those 2. And if you have a morning where you are really tired, where you're not really motivated, maybe it's easier for you to only do laying down positions. So you could spend 10 minutes on the laying down positions. But make sure that over the course of 7 days, you include all the positions at least once. And why is this important? This is important because gravity will affect the pelvic floor in different ways depending on if you are standing up, if you're laying down, or if you're on all fours. So we want to strengthen the pelvic floor in all the different angles that you can put it in relation to gravity. So I am going to show you here an image of a weekly schedule that you could use. You can also download it down below on a link. And I'm going to assume that you can do hypopressives for 10 minutes every day. So you could just move around. It doesn't really matter what time you do this schedule throughout the day. But it's a foundation for you, a structure for you to try out. And once you feel more comfortable, I really recommend you to start to listen to your body and what your body needs that day. Tuning into the body is such an important part of any healing journey. So I warmly recommend you to start to be observant on any signal that the body is giving you. I hope this was clear and that this video will make it easier for you to start to integrate hypopressives routine every day on your healing journey. Thank you so much.